So let me tell you regarding what. Let me tell you that I have to tell, and I will tell you the same thing actually in real reality. So if it comes to the what, that is if it comes to the geographical variances. Okay. So in today's video, we will try to talk, actually I'll try to talk and I'll try to give a brief description regarding geographical brief variances. Okay. So do you know what happen actually if it comes to the geographical variances? Okay, that is actually one of the most beautiful aspects. Okay, let me repeat it once again. That is, if it comes to the geography, it is actually one of the most beautiful thing that has to be explained. Okay, okay, let me tell you that is, do you know what happened? At first I'll tell you a few things that I have to tell and tell you. Okay, let me tell you a fact. Okay, at first let's come to the social science. So do you know what is that? Let me repeat it once again. That is, if it comes to the social science, do you know what is that? If it comes to the social science, so let me tell you whether on primary level, basically, or basic level. Basically, social science includes 4 subjects. At first, I'll tell you whether what it includes. Then I'll tell you whether what is that and what is the importance of that and why that is actually social science is actually being included in the curriculum of children, and why it is actually getting taught, or what is or why a student studies it. Okay, so if it comes to the social science, at first let me tell you whether on primary level or on basic level. Basically, social science includes 4 subjects. Let me tell you that is, do you know what happen? Actually, social science includes various subjects, but if it comes to the basic level, it includes only and only 4 subjects. Those are basically your history, geography, economics, and politics. Let me repeat it once again. That is, let me repeat it once again. That is, if it comes to the social science, it includes several subjects, but on basic level, you can say it includes only and only 4 subjects. That is, the history, geography, economics, and political science. Okay, so let me tell you that is, what do you think? That is what happened actually in the reality. Let me tell you that is, let me tell you whether at that point of time, that is up to class 5 or 6, whenever a kid has been known, right now he has been understood whether how to read and write and speak a language properly, and at that point of time, at that age, at that point of time, you can say whether a kid gets a proper command over a language in writing, reading, and speaking as well. He can read, write, and speak a language properly and fluently. Then from there, from there, he has been started getting taught regarding the basic things, or regarding the core things that actually raises his critical thinking and problem solving abilities. Okay, so let me tell you that is, if it comes to the social science, basically, as I told you, whether social science, it does include 4 subjects. Those are basically your history, geography, economics, and political science. And apart from that, let me tell you whether the teacher, whoever teaches the social science, the one whoever teaches the social science, he must have studied all 4 subjects. That is your history, geography, economics, and political science. Then only he can teach social science. Okay, and apart from that, let me tell you whether social science is a great influencer. Social science has a great connection with literature, with statistics, with science, with mathematics. As let me tell you whether, with the help of mathematics, social science is actually getting taught. Apart from that, a teacher, whoever teaches social science, he takes the help of a few subjects. That is, he takes the help of literature as well. Apart from that, he takes the help of mathematics and statistics to show the diagram, to show the diagram. This is actually what it does. And apart from that, he takes the help of information and communication technology as well, because and computer as well, to teach actually social science in this era of digitalization. So this is actually why social science is important. And let me tell you whether, you know what happened in social science, the kid is actually being taught regarding the society, regarding the surrounding. Whatever he sees, right now he has been taught whether whatever he sees, he has to observe. He has to make an observation regarding his surrounding, whatever he sees. Okay, he has to observe, and apart from that, after observing, he has to find a connection regarding between those things, and the connection, and the application of those things in his daily life. He has to do it, and he will. Okay, so a kid has been taught whether regarding the surrounding, regarding the trees and plants. Okay, and apart regarding the society, regarding our civilization, it develops a base. And you know what happen, if one doesn't study social science, then actually he won't be able to understand so natural science. Let me tell you whether, if someone says whether, do I think whether too much focus over natural science over social science, as natural science has more potentiality and opportunities, then social science, then let me tell you whether without understanding social science you actually won't be able to understand natural science properly. So that is why social science is actually, it is actually one of the major reasons to teach social science for the better understanding of natural science. Okay, and apart from that, let me tell you whether it actually gives a brief understanding regarding the society, regarding the culture, regarding the geography, regarding the civilization, regarding the civics. So that is why social science, regarding the finance, regarding the money. So that is why social science is actually being included in the curriculum of a kid. Apart from that, if it comes to the social science, so let me tell you a few reasons whether why social science is actually being taught to a kid. Let me repeat it once again. That is, if it comes to the social science, that includes various subjects. That is a history. That if it comes to the social science, it actually includes plenty of subjects, but actually on basic level, it actually only includes 4 subjects. Those are, let me repeat it once again, that I'm repeating. Those are basically your history, geography, economics, and political science. And apart from that, let me tell you that. Let me tell you a few reasons whether why social science is actually being taught to a kid. So what do you think, whether why is it actually being taught to a kid? Let me tell you whether to give a brief to actually give an understanding of the society, social science is actually being taught to a kid. Let me repeat it once again, that is, if it comes to the social science, so let me tell you whether to give a brief understanding of the society, to actually give a brief understanding of the society, to give actually to teach regarding the surrounding of a kid, regarding the environment, regarding the society. Social science is actually being taught to a kid. Apart from that, let me tell you, to give the cultural understanding, social science is actually being taught to a kid, to teach children regarding our culture, regarding the culture of a particular place, particular state, or particular country or continent, or the continent. Social science is actually being taught to him. And apart from that, let me tell you whether a kid has been taught social science, in social science he has been taught whether he has to respect every single culture. Exactly what he has to do, whether he has to a kid has to basically respect every single culture in social science. And apart from that, let me tell you, he has to respect, actually, as I told you, whether every single culture, and he has to respect his culture, he has to recognize its culture, and he has to preserve the culture, he has to keep continuing his culture. He has been taught regarding our culture, regarding our society. So that is why social science is taught to a child. Okay, so to give a cultural understanding, social science is actually being taught. And after that, the one that comes, that is basically to give the historical knowledge, social science is actually being taught. Okay, let me tell you whether in social science, let me tell you that a kid is actually being taught regarding our past civilization, regarding the past time, regarding the ancient times, regarding our forefathers, uh, regarding the ancient history, regarding the past time, regarding the previous major occurrence or major incidences or events. Okay, regarding the history, regarding the civilization, regarding our earlier civilization, regarding the stone age, regarding our civilization. And let me tell you whether history repeats itself. Exactly what it does, whether history repeats itself, and it does. That is, history is actually being taught in social science. And one of the major reason of that is whether history repeats itself. Okay, so that is why history is actually being taught in social science. As let me tell you whether history repeats itself, as I told you. So do you know what will happen? And so if anything happens in further future, so we have to see our past, whether if it happened earlier, then we have to take the help. We have to see whether how, if even if it happened earlier, so how it was actually getting solved, how it was actually getting dealt. So we have to deal with the same situation. We have to do a thing that we have to actually deal with the same problem. We have to salute the same problem. We have to make the solution of that problem in the same way as it was actually saluted earlier. Okay, so that is why, so history is actually being taught in social science. Apart from that, we do study history in social science to give actually we do a thing whether we do study social science. Actually, we do a thing whether we do study history in social science to teach from our past, to teach from our history, whether we have to take a let we have to learn, we have to observe our history, and from there we have to take a lesson whether whatever happened, and if anything happens earlier, if anything happens like that, whatever happened earlier, so we have to take a lesson, and we have to, and what happened in history, let me tell you whether we actually get a solution, as that if anything happens, how that thing is actually dealt with. Apart from that, the one that comes, that is to give actually geographical knowledge of the kid. Social is actually being taught to a kid. Let me tell you whether to a children, let me tell you whether in social history, geography is actually being taught in social science to a child, to teach him regarding to tell him regarding the climate system, regarding the river system, regarding the regarding the villages, regarding the towns, regarding the cities, regarding the districts, regarding the states, regarding the union territories, regarding the country, regarding the neighborhoods, regarding the neighboring countries, regarding the borders, regarding the continent, regarding the world, regarding the mountains, and regarding the hills, regarding the solar system, regarding the moon, regarding the sun, regarding the stars and planets, for all these things, regarding the volcanoes, to let me tell you whether to give, for all these things, to understand, actually to understand all these things, or you can say whether to actually teach all these things, so geography is actually being included in the curriculum of a child, as in the social science. Let me tell you whether to teach all these things, geography is actually being taught in social science to a child. Apart from that, the one that comes, that is to understand a child, to give him the lesson regarding the civics, to understand him, to actually giving the lesson regarding the constitutional values. Political science is actually being taught in social science. That is actually one of the crucial aspect of that is actually one of the crucial aspect, and that is actually one of the crucial subject in social science. Okay, so let me tell you whether to teach us a kid, regarding the constitutional values, regarding the civics, to teach him the civic sense, that he has to respect the monuments, he has to respect the historical monuments, and he has to preserve that, he has to preserve the history. For all these things, political science is actually be included in social science. Apart from that, the next one that comes, that is the economic that is to give him the economical and financial knowledge. Social science is actually being taught. Economics is actually being included in social science, as economics basically a kid studies. Do you know what a kid studies in economics in social basically a kid studies in economics in social science. He has been taught, or he studies basically regarding the finance, regarding the economy, regarding the finance, regarding the market, regarding the financial structure of a particular place or a particular country, regarding the money system, regarding the financial system, regarding the finances, regarding the market, regarding the concept of demand and supply, regarding the concept of accounting and cost. All these things are actually getting taught in economics, so that is why social science is actually being included, so that is why economics is actually being included in social science. Okay, apart from that, the one that comes, that is to develop critical thinking and critical ability, critical thinking. Social science is actually being taught to a kid. Let me tell you whether to develop critical thinking of a child, social science is actually being included in the curriculum of a kid. A kid actually has been taught social science. Let me tell you whether if it comes to a social science, the kid is actually being taught social science, as he has been, do you know why he has been taught social science? He actually has been taught social science, let me tell you whether a kid has been taught social science, to develop critical thinking, critical thinking. He studies it, as he would be able to develop his critical thinking and critical abilities. So that is why he has been taught social science, basically to develop his critical thinking. Okay, and after that, as in social science he makes a critical analysis that develops basically his critical thinking. Okay, and after that, the one that comes, that basically to develop problem solving abilities. Social science is actually being included in the curriculum of a kid. Let me repeat it once again. As I told you, to develop problem solving abilities, social science is actually being taught to a kid. Apart from that, let me tell you the one that comes, that is to basically, these are the reasons whether why social science is actually being taught to a kid. Let me repeat it once again, whether these are the reasons that I told you, whether because of all these things, social science is actually being taught to a kid. Okay, so let's come to the another topic, that is the geographical variation. So let's come to the geography. That is actually one of the most beautiful things that has to be told and tell you. If it comes to the geography, that is actually one of the most beautiful things and beautiful subjects to be studied. So we will go over there. That is if it comes to the geography. So what do you think whether why someone studies geography? Okay. And what is geographical variances? Okay, let me repeat it once again. That is what do you think whether why a student studies geography? Okay. And what is geographical variances? So at first let me tell you whether do you know what happened? Let me tell you a fact that is if it comes to the geography, if you studied at first, let me tell you whether geography has two classes. That is if you are studying geography in BA honors, so over there actually or till class 11, geography has two classes. It can be classified into two classes, that is your economical geography and pure geography. Let me repeat it once again. That is if it comes to the geography, it has been classified into two classes. Those are basically economical geography and pure geography. So economical geography, whatever you will study up to the country, regarding up to the country. That is if you are studying the river, you will study the river system of the country. If you are studying to the climate, you will study regarding the climate of the country. So whatever you will study, your study will remain regarding to the country. But if you are going towards the economic pure geography, that is actually one of the toughest subject that I do consider. So over there, do you know what happened basically if it comes to the pure geography? So let me tell you that if it comes to the pure geography, over there whatever you will study everything regarding the world level. Let me repeat it once again. That is if it comes to the pure geography, over there whatever you will study regarding to the world level. That is if you are studying regarding the climate system, so you have to study regarding the climate system of each single country. Apart from that, if you are studying regarding the river system, so you have to study the regarding river system of all over the world. Apart from that, if you are going towards the mountains, so you have to study regarding the hills and mountains of all over the world. Okay. And if you are going to the land system, if you have to study regarding the land system, land structure of all over the world. So pure geography, so that is why pure geography is like that makes pure geography one of the most hardest subject across the entire curriculum. Okay. And let me tell you whether if you have studied geography till class 12, okay, that actually makes a foundation of you. Okay. And apart from that, if you studied properly geography up to class 12, and if you are going to pursue BA in geography honors or BSc in geography honors, or if you are studying geography in your graduation level, so do you know what over there what happened? Actually, let me tell you whether over there whatever you will study, whatever you would study and whatever you will earlier studied, you would find you would find actually a huge variance between both. Let me repeat it once again. Whether if you have studied geography till class 12, and if you are pursuing your geography in honors in graduation, so between both the things, so you would actually find a huge gap. Okay, it's exactly what you would do, that you would actually find a huge gap between both the things. As do you know what happened, that whatever you study till class 12, that actually has made a foundation of you, and that will actually help you in your graduation up to 10% only. And over there you will feel whether whatever you are studying in geography in BA, those are actually completely different. Okay. So yeah, that actually makes a huge difference. So that is why no one pursues geography honors. And apart from that, if you are studying geography, it comes in science category. So you will get a geography, you can get a geography degree, be a graduation degree in geography honors. Apart from that, if you are honors pursuing geography, so you can get the same in BSc honors as well. And let me tell you whether many, there are actually many various universities that gives geography degree in science category, that is MSc in geography or BSc in geography. So this is actually what I had to tell and what I told you. And apart from that, the other one that comes, that is basically what do you think whether why a student studies geography, why geography is actually being taught to children, why it is actually being included in the curriculum of a kid. So let me tell you whether if it comes to the geography, in geography basically we do a thing with the, do you know what we do a thing with that basically we do study regarding the city, regarding the village, regarding the town, regarding the districts, regarding the states, regarding the union territories, regarding the India, regarding the country, regarding the borders, regarding the neighborhood or neighboring countries, regarding the continent, regarding the seas, regarding the ocean, regarding the rivers, regarding the climate, regarding the hills, regarding the mountains, regarding the continents, regarding the world, regarding the solar system, regarding the sun, regarding the moon, regarding the stars, regarding the planet, regarding the soil, regarding the chemical elements, regarding the chemicals, and regarding all those things that impacts the geography. So for we all regarding the earth obviously, all these things we do, I think whether we do study geography. Okay, so let me tell you whether we do study geography in all we do basically we do all this, we do study all these things in geography. We do it actually whether we do study all these things in geography. Apart from that, let me tell you whether, do you know what happened, let me tell you, that is by studying geography, do you know what happened, let me tell you whether the practical application of geography, let me tell you that is what, let me tell you a fact whether, let me tell you regarding the practical application of geography. So if it comes to the practical application, do you know what that does include, let me tell you that if it comes to the practical application, so let me tell you whether if you've studied geography, so you can work in you can work in basically, do you know what happened, what you can do, you can basically work, you can work in that department, you can work in a particular organization, and that organization predicts regarding the rain weather, weather how the weather throughout the entire year, how much the rain would happen throughout the country, how much it rain, how much it actually will rain throughout the country. So do you know what happen, you can work in various organization, and do you know what happen, or a particular organization, and that organization predicts or those organization do predict, do you know what they do, they simply do, I think that they do make the prediction of regarding the rain weather, how much it will rain, and how much how much will it rain, would it rain too much, or would if it actually about to get rained too much throughout the entire year, then surely it will flood, it will flood the country. So you have to be prepared, so you have to actually make alert the make alert everyone. And apart from that, if it actually won't rain it as much as it should have, so surely that at that point of time it brings the situation of drought. So you have to deal with, so you have to stay remain of that as well. And apart from that, you know what happened, the seismic department or the meteorology department, you can surely join the meteorology or the seismic department. Over there you can make the prediction regarding the earthquake, whether regarding a particular place earthquake may hit, or regarding the tsunami, that the you can predict, you can actually make the prediction of tsunami or the earthquake. Okay, let me tell you that if that at that point of time, let me tell you whether our planet, I mean where we do live, that is actually, do you know what happened in the planet of earth where we do live, that is actually situated in the, do you know what, where that is situated, that is actually situated in the geotectonic plates. And at that point of time, when the plate vibrates, or where those plates do shake, then it brings a quake, then it actually shapes, then it actually shakes the world. And that process is called or that process is actually being termed as by the term for basically earthquake. And let me tell you whether, if you're talking about the earthquake, just like earth, when earth shakes, then earthquake comes in the earth. So just like that, moonquake additionally comes when the plates of moon basically shake. Then over there, moonquakes additionally come. So if you're talking either about the moonquake or the earthquake, you will get to study both the things in geography. And apart from that, you can join the seismic department or meteorology department. Over there you can actually make the prediction regarding the earthquake, regarding the floods, regarding the tsunami, regarding the rain, the weather, regarding the cyclone, regarding the rain, whether would it rain, whether how much it may rain throughout the entire country. If it would rain too much, then surely you have to alert everyone, as if it rains much more than the expected figure, so surely that may actually bring the situation of flood. And apart from that, if it doesn't rain as much as it should have, then at that point of time, that actually may bring the situation of drought. So at that point of time, you additionally actually have to make everyone alerted. So you do nothing, whether you do study all these things, you do, I think, whether you do study all these things in geography, that's exactly what you do. Whether you do study all these things in geography, that's exactly what you do. So this is actually one of the most crucial things. Just suppose there is actually a tsunami, and the tsunami is actually about to hit, and whenever the tsunami comes, you know what happen, it kills thousands of people. That's exactly what it does. Whether a very very huge wave in, whether a very very huge wave in the sea or sea or ocean, a very very huge wave in sea, whenever a very very huge wave in sea comes, then the term is, the process is called the tsunami. And whenever a tsunami comes, it actually kills hundreds and thousands of people. It does it actually. And whenever it comes, it actually floods it actually, you can say, whether floods the entire city, it actually sinks the entire city. And in that deadly process, you can see whether hundreds and thousands of process do get died. They do it actually. So that is by you, if you are working over there, then you can, if you can predict regarding the situation, whether how tsunami comes, and if you are actually able to, alert the people before earlier, whether a tsunami may predict, or a tsunami is actually about to hit within this prescribed period of time, then surely everyone get alerted. So surely at that point of time, you actually can save thousands or hundreds and thousands of life. And when it comes to the cyclone, do you know what happened? What do you think, whether what the meteorology department does? Basically, the meteorology department does a thing whether they do make the prediction of the cyclone. Okay, whenever a cyclone comes, basically, if it comes to the cyclone, it comes basically majorly in coastal areas. Okay, so whenever a cyclone hits, it hits actually it actually, whenever it comes, it actually hits, or it actually just, you can say, whether vanish the entire village or entire city. So whenever a cyclone is actually about to get hit, do you know what happened? What the meteorology department does? The meteorology department informs the government, and basically the government instructs the entire village, or that entire area where the cyclone is actually about to get hit. Basically, whether the government make the instruction that every single person, they have to basically leave the village, as the cyclone is actually about to cyclone is actually about to hit the a cyclone is actually about to hit the village or about that particular area. So by working in meteorology department, you can actually save some various lives. That's actually what you can. And apart from that, if you're talking about the sailors, so if it comes to the sailors, so when they do, let me tell you that if it comes to the sailors, whenever they do go to the sea to sail, so do you know what happened? They do at first see the prediction, whether what the news says, what the meteorology department says, what the news says regarding the weather. If they are seeing whether if they are going too much far away, and there is actually a cyclone is actually coming in the ocean or in the sea, so they won't go for sail. Whenever they do go, they before going to sail, do you know what happened? What a sailor does, or what sailors do before going to sail? They at first see the prediction, what the news says regarding, what the meteorology says regarding the weather, how the weather would be. Then only they go in the sea to sail. Okay, so they do take the help of geography, you can say. And apart from that, let me tell you that, you know what happened, what is sea and what is sea and what is your ocean. So let me differentiate those differences. Those actually can be differentiated between seas and ocean. So let me tell you whether a sea is actually such water bodies, such a water body that shares with land. Okay, let me repeat it once again, that if it comes to the sea, it is actually such kind of water body that actually shares its lands with that actually shares its border with land. Okay, so you can go to the sea. As do you know what happen? A sea borders, it touches its border with the land. Okay, but if it comes to the ocean, an ocean doesn't touch its lands with the land. Let me repeat it, to let me rectify it, whether if it comes to the ocean, an ocean doesn't basically border touch it an ocean basically doesn't touch its border with the land. Okay, it remains in at the middle. So let me repeat it once again, whether a sea borders it, basically a sea touches its border. A sea basically touches its border with land, but an ocean doesn't touch its border with land. Let me repeat it once again, whether a sea touches its border with land, but if it comes to an ocean doesn't touch its border with land. Okay, so an ocean, so at first you have to cross the sea, then only you'll be able to go in the ocean. Okay, and let me tell you whether if you're talking regarding the sea and ocean, so in both the places you would find a different creatures. Let me tell you whether if you're talking about the seas, so over there, do you know what happened? Whatever the fishes or whatever the fish or fishes do live over there, do you know what happened? their ecosystem is actually quite different from the ocean. As in the ocean you would find the big creature, okay, the giant creature over there, the whale, the blue whale, the sharks, everyone actually lives over in the ocean. As over and apart from that, let me tell you, whether if you're talking about the environment, ecosystem, the temperature, everything varies. And let me tell you that is, do you know what would happen? You may probably, if you are talking regarding the sea, so over there, if someone sunk, so there are chances that he may survive. But if you're talking about the ocean, and if someone dives over, if someone dives over there, or if someone goes over there, I'm not talking about divers, I'm talking about whether if someone falls inside an ocean, then there are no chances whether he actually would be able to be saved. As, do you know what would happen? An ocean literally remains very depth. Exactly how it remains, whether the ocean remains very depth, okay. And apart from that, let me tell you, whether if it comes to the ocean, whenever it rains, and let me tell you that is one of the most let me tell you, one of the most works of meteorology department, that is, do you know what would happen? Every single year, at least twicely or thrice, or I do know, at least twicely or thrice, or you can say, whether if it comes to a cyclone, they do come and they do keep coming at the coastal areas. So it is actually it becomes actually the duty and as well as the responsibility of the meteorology department, whether they do make the prediction of the cyclone, whether it is actually about to hit a particular place. And whenever it is actually the prediction has been made that the outside there is a clear cyclone, and that is actually about to hit at the particular coastal place or a particular coastal area, then at that point of time, basically the meteorology department informs the government, and the government basically does the thing, whether the government informs basically the government informs regarding the heated place, regarding the regarding that place, whether the place is actually about to get hit by a cyclone, it is actually about to get affected actually by a cyclone. So the government make everyone alerted, and the government actually make the instruction to leave everyone. So that is why everyone actually leaves the place to save their lives, okay. So thus, by working in geography meteorology department, you can actually make the prediction of tsunamis and cyclones, and you can save lives, okay. And apart from that, you can additionally move towards regarding the seismology department, seismology department, that actually do make the prediction regarding the earthquakes, okay, regarding the earthquakes, that when it comes, okay, when it comes, where it comes, you can actually make the prediction of these things. And apart from that, let me tell you regarding the earthquake, okay. So if it comes to the earthquakes, then at that point of time, as I told you, whether the earth is actually, do you know what happened, wherever we do live, that is actually being situated in plates. So in a plate, and tectonic plates, okay, and in out and in those places we do live, that is in those tectonic plates we do live. And those are, and do you know what happen, whenever those tectonic plates move, that actually make vibration, and the vibration is actually named as by the name of basically earthquake, okay. And let me tell you, whether it happens in various reasons. If it comes to an earthquake, so what do you think, whether how an earthquake happens? It happens actually by various reasons. Let me repeat it once again, that if it comes to an earthquake, so what do you think, whether how an earthquake comes? It actually comes because of various reasons. If it comes to an earthquake, so what do you think, whether who predicts an earthquake and how it comes? So let me tell you, whether an earthquake happens because of various reasons. I'll tell you a few of them. So let me tell you, whether the major reason regarding the occurrence of earthquake are two. So I'll tell you actually regarding the two major reasons that regarding the occurrence of an earthquake, okay. So it happens internally because of the internal reason. Apart from that, an earthquake additionally happens because of the alignment of the planets additionally. Let me repeat it once again, whether if it comes to an earthquake, what do you think, whether how it happens? It happens actually because of the alignments of the planets, okay. So at that point of time, whenever all the planets do align in a proper alignment along with the sun, then at that point of time, that basically brings earthquake in the earthquake in the earth. Let me repeat it once again, that is, do you know what happened in an earthquake? It happens because of the internal reason. And apart from that, do you know what would happen, how it happens? It happens because of the alignments of the planets additionally. So let me repeat it once again, that whatever I repeated, that is, if it comes to an earthquake, it happens actually because of the alignments of the planets. Whenever all the planets in our solar system do align in a proper or a particular alignment along with the sun, then at that point of time, earthquake happens in our earth, okay. So at that point of time, do you know what would happen? What the seismology department do? They do observe and keep observing regarding the space, regarding our solar system, and whenever they do see whether there is actually a particular time, and at that point of time or at that period, all the planets are actually about to get aligned in a proper alignment, then surely an earthquake, a deadly earthquake hits the earth. Okay, so they do alert everyone whether an earthquake is actually about to get hit in earth. So be alert, and do you know what happened? That alerts everyone. And apart from that, so that is why geography is actually very crucial in this perspective. And apart from that, if it comes to the geographical variances, that is actually one of the most beautiful and one of the most crucial aspect in geography that has to be understood. So do you know what will happen if it comes to the geography? So do you know what will happen? Let me tell you some of the variances that geography brings. Okay, and how it brings because of the geographical variances that are because of actually the the structure of the land. Okay, let me tell you whether what is geographical variances and how it happens, why it happens, and what impacts it brings. Let me repeat it once again. Whether I'll tell you whether what is geography and what is geographical variances and how it impacts, and what impacts it bring in our culture, in our society, what it does, and how it actually influences us, or how it actually affects us. Okay, if it comes to the geographical variances, so at that point of time, let me tell you, whenever the land changes, that actually brings geographical variances. Let me repeat it once again, that whenever the land changes, it actually brings geographical variances. As I told you, whether as it, you know what happened, as it, this thing is actually being said or being told, whether India is actually a land of diversification. Let me repeat it once again, that is, India is actually a land of diversification, and over there the land changes and actually keeps changing over every single kilometers. This is actually, let me repeat it once again, that India is considered as the land of diversification, and over there the land changes it in every single kilometers. And whenever the land changes, it changes the geography, it changes the geography. Additionally, along with the geography, whenever the land changes, it changes the geography, it changes the climate. And whenever the climate changes, whenever the geography changes, it makes change regarding the food, regarding the culture, regarding the clothes, regarding the lifestyle, regarding the habit, regarding the living standard. It brings variances, and changes in every single thing. Let me tell you with an example, that is, let me tell you with a random example, that there is actually someone, and let me tell you that is and let me tell you whether there is actually a community. Okay, before that, let me tell you, before going over there, let me tell you whether India is actually being termed as by the term for subcontinent. Let me repeat it once again, that is, if it comes to the India or Bharat, it is actually being termed as by the term of basically the subcontinent. Okay, so India is termed as by the term of the basically India is actually being termed as by the term of basically the Indian subcontinent. Let me repeat it once again, India is actually basically termed as by the term of the Indian subcontinent. You know why it happens? It happens because of the diversification. Okay, so let me tell you whether if you're talking about a continent, so in a continent, do you know what happen in a continent? What is a continent? It is actually basically a group of several countries. Okay, and let me tell you whether if you would observe a continent, then you will actually get to know that in a continent, the land changes, and whenever the land changes, it actually brings variances in every single thing regarding the lifestyle, culture, clothing, and etc. Okay, so in a continent, at one portion of the continent, you would find that it rains and it actually keeps raining, but while at the other portion it doesn't rain at all. So and the other portion, it remains too much cold. So wherever in a continent, at a particular area, wherever the snow falls, the people do wear the hot and warm clothes, but actually at the another place where it doesn't rain at all, and that remains actually a hot region. So over there the people do wear the people do a thing whether the people do wear the cotton clothes, and that clothes those clothes that actually make sure that the air passes inside the body. And apart from that, in the hot region, the people do consume all those foods and beverages that do remain hot in nature. But if it comes to the but if it comes to the hot region, over there the people do wear all those clothes, or actually the people do a thing whether the people. So what I was talking, if you're talking about the hot reason over there, do you know what would happen if you're talking about the hot reason? over there people do eat and over there people do eat and do consume all those foods and beverages that do remain basically cold in nature, as they have to do regard for the survival. Apart from that, let me tell you that is in the hot region, do you know what people do? People basically do a thing whether they do wear the warm and hot cloth. Why they do it? They do it because of the survival, as they have to do. But if it comes to the hot region, over there people cannot do over there actually people cannot wear hot and warm clothes. They have to wear the warm, they have to wear do you know what they have to do? They have to wear uh, they have to wear cotton clothes or cotton or normal clothes that actually do make sure that the air passes inside their body. So why it happens? It happens because of the survival. Okay, so in every single corner in a continent you would find various of variances in let me repeat it once again. Whether in a continent you actually would do a thing, whether you would find plenty of variance at every single place, at every single corner, at every single continent, sorry, at every single country you would find, and you will actually keep finding plenty of variances. It happens because of the geography. You would find the variances in the culture, in the language, in the fooding, in the lifestyle, in the habits, in the living standard, in every single thing you would find the variances. And the reason of variances, why and what is actually the reason of variances? The reason of variances is the geographical structure or the geographical variances. The geographical variances do bring various kinds of variances. Okay, so if it comes to the continent, a continent, in every single corner of a continent you would find a plenty of variances. Exactly what you would do, let me repeat it once again. Within a country you would find, and actually you would actually be kept finding variances at every single portion in a continent. Exactly what you would do if it comes to a continent. Okay, so that is why in a continent the land changes, it exactly keeps changing. And apart from the land it actually brings variances in various things that I termed to you. But if it comes to the India, over there, do you know what happened? As I told you, whether over there India has all those features whatever a continent has. Let me repeat it once again, that if it comes to the India, it has all those things whatever a continent has. That is, over there the land changes and exactly keeps changing at every single kilometer. So that is why over there someone speaks Punjabi, so that is why. And after that, another one speaks Gujarati, and shortly just after that another one speaks Marathi. Why? And you know what would happen if you would see their culture, their language, their fooding, their lifestyle, their habits, their living standard, you would actually find up plenty of variances. So why it happens? It happens because of the geographical variances. It happens actually because of the geographical structure, because of the geography. So that is why, let me tell you whether, so that is why India is actually called as by the called as by India is actually known as by the name of basically the Indian subcontinent, as it has all those things. It has actually all those features whatever a continent has. So that is why India is actually being known as by the name of basically the Indian subcontinent. Okay, and apart from that, India has a great influence in the Indian Ocean. Let me repeat it once again, that if you're talking about the Indian Ocean, India has a great influence in the Indian Ocean. So because of the influence of the because actually of the influence of the India in the Indian Ocean, the Indian Ocean is actually being named as by the name of Indian Ocean. Let me repeat it once again, that India has a great influence in the Indian Ocean, and as well as throughout the entire region. So that is why Indian Ocean is actually, it was actually being known as by the name of the Indian Ocean because of the influence of the India throughout the entire region. Okay, so these are actually these reasons that I had to tell, and I told you whether why India is actually termed as by the term of basically the Indian as the Indian subcontinent, and why Indian Ocean is actually being named as such. Okay, so these are the things that I had to tell, and I told in the reality. Apart from that, if it comes to the another one, so I told you the differences between the sea and ocean. And apart from that, okay, let's come to the economics. Okay, so if you're talking about economics, so let me tell you a few just a fun fact. Okay, that is the difference between regarding the production and manufacturing. Okay, so let's talk about social science. So in social science, economics actually plays a very crucial role. Let me repeat it once again, that if you're talking about social science, over there economics actually plays a very crucial role. If you're talking about social science, so let me tell you, that is, do you know what happen if you're talking about the economics? So what do you think? What are key studies in economics and social science? Let me tell you whether key studies in economics and social science basically regarding the money, regarding the finance, regarding the taxation, regarding the market, regarding the financial structure of a particular place or a particular country, regarding the concept of demand and supply, regarding the cost, all those things, these are actually what are actually getting taught to a kid in social science. Okay, so let me tell you at first, if it comes to the economics, so do you know what happened at first? Let me tell you a fact about economics. So what do you think? Cost is actually a part of economics. It is actually, okay, let me tell you whether what is actually the differences between, what are actually the differences between, or what is the difference between production and manufacturing. Let me repeat it once again, that can you make the differences between, can you actually tell the differences between manufacturing and economic production. So let me tell you whether production is actually a natural thing. Okay, it is actually not a man-made thing or an artificial thing. It is actually a natural thing. Let me tell you whether if you are producing crops, it means you are doing natural production, as you do not you do not make the crops, nature makes it. Let me repeat it once again, that at that point of time, whenever you are making something with the help of nature, the process is termed as by the term of basically production, not manufacturing, as you do not make something but the nature makes that. Let me tell you with an example, that if it comes to the farming, no, you do not farm, actually the you do not let me tell you whether a man doesn't farm, a man doesn't make the crops. Do you know about who makes it? What do you think, whether if a man doesn't do it, then who does it? Basically it is actually being done by the nature, as the nature does it. The nature makes the crops. Okay, the nature does it actually. So that is why the production, that process is termed as by the term of basically the production. Okay, as the nature, as a man doesn't make the crops, as basically the nature makes it. It does it actually, a man just bring proper and favorable situation to get it happen. And you know what happen, that nature happens it. Okay, so the process is called so that process is called production. Let me repeat it once again, that if it comes to the production, what do you think, does a man produce? What do you think, whether a man produces or does a man make the production? No, man doesn't produce. A nature, do you know what happened whenever, let me tell you, whenever something is actually being made by nature, then that point of time the process is called production. Let me tell you whether whenever something is actually being done by the nature, then the process is termed as by the term for basically the production. Let me tell you with an example, that at that point of time, whenever a man produces, whenever a man produces farming, produces some of the crops. So the crops is whenever a farmer produces crops, so the process can be termed as by the term for basically production. As over there a man doesn't manufacture, he just produces, he does it actually. So the process is called manufacturing. Whenever something remains, whenever something is actually getting made by without man-made, without the help of man, without the help of artificial, without artificial, that is whenever something is actually being made without the help of a man, then the process is termed as by the term for basically the production. That is, if you are basically if you are actually making, or if you are actually farming some of the crops. Okay, if you are farming a crop, so the process would be termed as by the term for basically production, but not manufacturing, but actually a production. But if it comes to the manufacturing, as let me tell you, a production is actually is not a man-made activity. Okay, but if it comes to the manufacturing, it is actually a man-made activity. Let me tell you whether if it comes to the manufacturing, it is actually a man-made activity. M for manufacturing, M for man. Okay, over there, do you know what happened? It is actually an artificial process. It is actually a man-made activity. It is actually, let me tell you with an example, that is over there in factories, we do produce vehicles, we do produce whatever we have to produce, we do make whatever we have to do, we do it actually. So the process is termed as by the term of manufacturing, not by production. So this is actually the differences. So basically a production, let me tell you whether manufacturing includes man-made activities, it actually includes artificial is actually being made by the artificial activities. So let me tell you, it remains basically artificial, it remains a man-made activity. Nature doesn't help over there. It is actually, nature doesn't make it. Do you know what, who makes it? It is actually being made by the man, as a man makes it, as a man doesn't produce, but actually a man manufactures it, does it actually. So these are the differences that I had to describe, and I described it basically at that point of time. Whenever something is actually whenever something is actually being made by nature, or whenever nature made something, then the process is called basically production, that is whenever if you are actually making the crops, if you are actually farming the crops, then the process would be termed as the term for basically production. But if it comes to manufacturing, let me tell you whether it is actually being made by a man, as a man manufactures, a man makes the manufacturing, he does it actually, whether a man at that point of time, whenever a man made something, so the process is termed as by the term for basically manufacturing. It remains completely an artificial and a man-made activity. Exactly what it remains that I had to tell, and I told you. Okay. And if it comes to the economics, over there in economics we do study, do you know what would happen if it comes to the economics has two classes, that is microeconomics and microeconomics. Let me repeat it once again, that if it comes to the economics, that actually can be classified into two classes, that is microeconomics and microeconomics. In microeconomics we do study everything in micro level, that is on an individual level. That is, both are those factors that affects the individual and his finances, his exactly what it does. Let me repeat it once again, that is in micro level we do study all those things, so those do affect an individual on micro level. Okay, it's exactly what it does. Let me repeat it once again, whether in microeconomics, whatever we do study we do you know what happened, what we do a thing with that, we do study all those things in microeconomics that we have to on micro level, that is all those factors whatever do affect an individual on micro level. Okay, that is over there in microeconomics we do study basically that concept of demand and supply, the concept of cost. But if it comes to the microeconomics, over there we do study on macro level, that is on the huge level, that is on the country level. Exactly what we do, whether in macroeconomics we do study on the huge level, that is on the country level. Okay, that is if you are doing, so if you are over there we do study regarding the market, regarding the market structure of a particular place or a particular state or a particular country, regarding the financial structure and financial, regarding the financial system and financial structure and financial market of a particular place or of a particular state or a particular country. We all these things we do study. Okay, and in microeconomics, do you know what happen, we do the analysis of a particular place or a particular country as well, or a particular state additionally. So let me tell you whether to make the financial analysis, do you know what we do a thing, whether we do make balance of payment. Okay, it is actually just like balance sheet, but not a balance sheet, it is actually just like that. Okay, so balance of payment has two aspect, you can say, the one that deals with importation and the other one deals with exportation. Okay, let me repeat it once again, that is, let me tell you whether if it comes to the balance of payment, so balance of payment has two aspects, one deals with the importation and the other one goes with the exportation. Okay, so the one aspect, in one side we do in balance of payment, we do a thing whether we do write all the importation whatever the country imported throughout the entire year, and the another one and the another side deals with the exportation, whether how much the country exported throughout the entire year. Okay, and let me tell you whether if it remains excess of importation than exportation, means the if it remains actually excess of importation than exportation, then the term is called the deficit. And if it remains excess of exportation than importation, then the term is called surplus. Okay, let me tell you whether if it remains excess of importation than exportation, it simply means the country is actually more importing and the country is actually exporting less. It simply means that the country is actually exporting more. It simply means it actually ordering more goods and services from the outside, and it is actually sending its economy to the other economy. And let me tell you whether if it actually doing less economy, less exportation as much as it should have, it is actually not exporting as much actually as it should have, then at that point of time it basically does a thing whether it is actually bringing not it is actually not bringing as much foreign reserve as it should have. Then at that point of time, it should, you know what happen in the long run, it is actually reducing its foreign reserve. So do you know what happen, let me tell you whether if it comes to the other aspect, whether if a country okay, at first this let me tell you whether at this point of time the country is actually losing its foreign reserve. It is exactly what it does. Okay, so at that point of time you can actually make the prediction of the financial growth of that particular place or particular country, whether how it actually would be in the long run. Okay, that is it is that its financial condition is actually declining. So this is actually how financial growth or a financial condition of a country or a particular place is actually getting predicted. Apart from that, if the country is actually doing more exportation, exportation than importation. Means the country imports means the country imported means the country imported as minimum as it can, and apart from that it exported as much as it can. It simply means whether what did the country did, it did a thing whether it what happened, it spent its foreign reserve, it actually did a thing whether it actually spent its foreign reserve, it sent its foreign reserve, it actually spent its money to foreign reserve as minimum as it can. And do you know what it did a thing whether it brought foreign reserve to its economy. It actually did a thing whether it actually brought foreign reserve from the outside economy to its economy as much as it can than importation. So do you know what happened, what it did in long run, you can say whether it basically did a thing that is it brought minimum. Do you know what it did a thing whether it sent minimum, it actually sent minimum it actually sent minimum foreign reserve about for it actually sent minimum rupees, minimum money out of the economy, but actually it brought much money inside its economy. That actually shows the financial growth of growth of the country or of that particular place. And at that point of time you can basically make the prediction that is at the long run the financial growth of the country is actually getting grown. In this case, in this situation, you can actually make the prediction of the financial structure or the financial growth of the particular place of a particular country, whether in the long run whether it actually will go. Okay, exactly what you can do. That I had to a nice book in reality. So balance of payment, every single country makes balance of payment. Exactly what it does. And apart from the country, every single state additionally makes balance of payment. Let me tell you whether every single country makes balance of payment, and as well as this every single state additionally makes balance of payment. And with the help of balance of payment you can actually see the financial growth. You can actually, and as well as you can actually make the prediction of the financial growth of a particular place or a particular state or a particular country. If the balance of payment remains a deficit, it simply means whether the financial structure, the financial sector of the country is actually this lines. Okay, and over there you shouldn't invest. But if the BOP, that is the balance of payment, sees that that it remains surplus, if it remains surplus in the balance of payment, then at that point of time the country is actually doing more exportation. It simply means that the economy of the country is actually boosting. It's actually getting boosted. So over there, do you know what happened? Over there you can make the prediction, that is you can invest inside the country. So do you know what happened? Balance of payment data basically attract FDI, that is foreign direct investment. Okay, exactly what it does. Whether balance of payment helps to attract FDI, that is foreign direct investment. Whenever a country invest in a country whenever a country invest in another country, whenever inside a country investment comes from outside of a country, or whenever inside a particular country and another particular country invest, then the term is termed as the term of basically the FDI, that is the foreign reserve. Okay, and foreign reserve, and before making foreign reserve you have to let me tell you whether before making FDI you have to see basically a few situations. Let me repeat it once again. Whether basically making foreign reserve, you have to see a few situations, or a few you have to see, you have to actually see a few things, that is regarding the balance of payment. That is what the balance of payment BOP says, that what it remains, that how it remains, that is a surplus or deficit. And apart from that you have to see the transportation system of that particular place or particular country. You have to see that communication system. You have to see regarding the political situations, political stability, as without the lack of without as at the lack of political stability, or in political instability, and the FDI, no FDI comes. So there has to be a political stability, then only FDI comes. And apart from that you have to see the transportation system, you have to see the communication system, you have to see the infrastructure system, you have to see the financial institutions and financial structure of that particular place. You have to see the labor market, you have to see the labor market, you have to see regarding the ways in the sense, you have to see whether if you are producing something out inside that country, then there has to be proper sea, or there has to be proper place or proper ports for exportation, so that for sending the goods, for exportation, you can say that you can actually, after producing after actually manufacturing the good inside that country, you can export out of throughout the entire world. For that there has to be proper ways in the sense, there has to be proper ports, or there has to be proper ways. Okay, or and apart from that you have to see various of factors. Okay, you have to see the geography, you have to see regarding the mentality of the people, regarding the mentality, regarding the market, regarding the demand, the supply, regarding the demand, regarding the mentality and psychology of the people, whether what they do prefer and what they do ignore. You have to see all these things, and then only you can make the FDI. So before making FDI, you have to consider, or you have to see plenty of factors. Let me repeat it once again. Whether before making FDI, you have to see plenty of factors, and let me tell you whether all these things we do study in economics. And apart from that, let me tell you whether by studying economics, let me tell you in the you can make the prediction in the that how a country goes, and how it actually will grow in the long, how it actually will be grown in the long run, or where it actually will go in the long run. Let me repeat it once again. Whether in economics we do study, and we do actually make the analysis whether how a country grows, and how it actually would be able to go ahead, and how it actually be able to how it actually would be in the long run. So it actually make the prediction whether how the country would be in the long run. So that is why you can make the prediction, and you cannot. Okay, just suppose, let me tell you whether you just took the last 5 years BOP, that is balance of payment, and every single year you are seeing whether every single year the surplus raises. Okay, you didn't find a single deficit in a single year. You did exactly whether you didn't find, you actually did find you actually did find deficit throughout a single year, and every single year you found surplus, and every single year the surplus raises and actually keeps raising. It means the economy the economy is booming. It is the country is actually growing. So over there is, so do you know what happened? The situation basically brings it actually brings the opportunity for FDI, and you know what happened at that point of time, in that country various kinds of FDIs do come, and they do keep coming. Okay, so all these factors are actually the factors that do bring FDI. And apart from that, labor market is actually one of the crucial aspects that has to be focused. Let me repeat it once again, that if you're talking about the labor market, so a country has to say whether wherever the country is actually, wherever the FDI is going, or wherever the country is actually making a manufacturing plant. So before making a manufacturing plant, the country has to see the labor market. Okay, whether is there the availability of the labor, is there the availability of the land, is there the availability of the water. The country is there, the company has to see, or the maker of the, or the FDI or maker or the investor has to see each and everything, whether how the situation remains. And apart from that, the FDI, surely if someone making an FDI, that is someone is actually making an investment also out of the country. That is, so at that point of time, surely if he's actually launching a plant out of another country, so surely he must be making a huge investment. Okay, so for that he has to make sure various things. And apart from that, do you know what happened? The crucial thing that he wants, that is the government cooperation. He has to make sure that the government cooperates. Without the government cooperation, he actually won't be able to invest over there. So if any FDIs, or if any FDI comes, or if any investment comes from the outside, or if any investments do come from the outside, or you can say whether if someone wants to launch a plant, or a manufacturing plant, or a manufacturing organization or company inside another country, so for that the government has to cooperate. If the government doesn't cooperate, then actually no one would be able to invest. The country actually won't be able to get invested by anyone. So do you know what happened? The government policies and the government corporations are actually very, very crucial, and without the lack of at the lack of it, the country actually won't be able to go. So do you know what happened? The government has to basically do a thing, that the government has to cooperate, and the government cooperates as well. Do you know what happened? The government cooperates. And apart from that, if the country wants if a country wants FDI in its country, let me repeat it once again. So basically, I talked, or I described regarding the microeconomics as much as I knew. And apart from that, let me tell you a factor, that is, do you know what happened if it comes to the economics? So you in economics, basically you do take the help of mathematics, statistics, and information technology to study it better, and as well as to teach it better. So do you know what happened if there is an economic teacher? So basically, an economic teacher basically does a thing whether he takes the help of statistics, mathematics, and as well as information technology for better teaching, and as well as for better understanding of of his children. And apart from that, if there is a student, then the student additionally takes the help of mathematics, statistics, and information technology as well, for the better understanding of the subject. And apart from that, you know what would happen if it comes to the economist of a particular place, or a particular state, or a particular country, you can say. That is, do you know what they do, or the policy maker, do you know what they do? They basically simply do a thing, whether they do take the help of basically they do take help of statistics, economics, mathematics, and information and communication technology for the better for making better policy, and as well as for better output, for better outcomes, for better, for making better policy, and as well as for a better outcome. They do take the help of all these things. And as I told you, whether in economics you would study statistics and mathematics, especially information technology as well, but if it comes to the statistics, let me tell you, whether you can say whether if you're studying economics, then you do require a good computational skill, computational mathematical skill. As do you know what I'm not telling you with that in economics you would study only and only mathematics, and you have to good you have to actually good you have to be a good mathematician to study economics. I'm not saying anything like that, but still let me tell you whether you do require a few computational skill. If you do if you do have a good mathematical skill, if you are actually quite good in mathematics, especially in statistics, so there's and do you know what happen, you will be able to study economics and as well as teach economics, and as well as in you will be able to do something better in economics. Okay, this is actually the subject that has to be understood, and I understood it. So these are actually the thing that I had to tell, and I told you. And apart from that, economics has a great connection regarding geography and history, and as well as political science. Let me repeat it once again. That is, do you know what happened? Let me tell you, that is sure. Economics has a great connection from history, geography, and as well as political science. As let me tell you, whether the governmental policies are directly, and the governmental policies do directly and as well as indirectly affect economics. And apart from that, if it comes to the history, surely economists do at first they do study history, they do analysis, that they do make the analysis of that, then only they after that they do make policies in economics. And apart from that, you know what happen, in economics, geography plays a very crucial role. As do you know what happen, in various geographical structure, in various geographical places, in various places wherever the geography varies, over there the economic system additionally varies. Let me repeat it once again, whether in various places over there where the geography varies, over there the economics varies additionally. This is actually the thing that I had to speak, and I spoke.